Okay, so in this video we're going to be diving into our training camp, which was at Club La Santa. We actually flew out on the 19th of April. We spent 6 weeks there, had a really great block of training. So I'm just going to run through what we did, what it looked like, and obviously the facilities that we get to use when we're at Club La Santa. So my overall goal of the camp was to just really get back into that full-on triathlon training, build up the mileage, build up the endurance. So I'd obviously literally just done the Olympic swimming trials and got on the plane the next day after my 1500. So most of my training before that had been really swim focused. So I just wanted to get back into that full-on triathlon training, build up that base again and just do a solid amount of work to feel fit over hopefully a middle distance, but building towards doing a full distance. So today we're just doing some shots for Roka with their new Roka wetsuit and new Roka swim skin. Just doing some in and out water shots on the beach and then some swimming around stuff in a minute. So nothing crazy, done all my training today, so this is quite nice to just finish off the day with some sun on the beach.
Waste my time, don't say I never told you. Go, get out of my mind, I refuse to be your soldier. Waste my time, don't say I never told you. Go, get out of my mind, I refuse to be your soldier. Waste my time, don't say I never told you. Go, get out of my mind, I refuse to be your soldier.
So the main reasons for going on camp are when I'm training at Club La Santa, everything is just there. It makes training so straightforward. Swim, bike and run. You almost feel like you've gained 6 hours in the day to do everything. Whereas obviously at home, there's things that just take up your time, whether that's doing housework, cleaning, walking the dog. Just things that take up your time. So actually there's zero distractions when we're on camp. We eat well, we sleep for long hours, we get all our training done, we've got more time for recovery, and you're just living that elite athlete lifestyle. But you can't do that all the time. You can do it in blocks, but then you do need to come home and just have a bit of normality as well. But the amount that can be gained on a 6-week camp is just humongous, particularly in a location where You haven't got to drive to do anything. Everything is where you are. You ride out the door. You can just be on your turbo. You've got the pool to swim at. You've got the track to run at. You've got the trails. You've got the gym. It's all on site. Your food is on site. It is the biggest time saviour, and that is why we go on camp, just because we can get our heads down, get the work done, recover, and just gain so much in a relatively short window of time.
First ride back in Lanzarote for 15 months. It feels so weird to be back here, but so good. On the new cube bikes, on the TT bike today. Also got the road bike with me as well, so I've got the Arium and the Lightning. And yeah, it just feels so good to be back on the open roads, feeling warm. It's like gone 5 o'clock now and it is still so nice and warm, so feeling super lucky to be back, so happy. Looking forward to getting stuck in a solid block, so yeah, can't wait.
So pretty much a typical week for me was on a Monday and a Friday would just be a swim and a strength session. On a Friday, I would book in with the local physios and just have that just to keep my body good week in, week out, which obviously worked. On a Tuesday, my main key session was like a track focus run session, but not doing really short speed work. It was still a relatively long run, just throwing in some intensity. And then I would also swim and bike on a Tuesday as well. On a Wednesday, I had a swim, more of a key bike session and a gym session. On a Thursday, I would do a bike and a run session. Friday was swim and gym again, like I mentioned. Saturday was swim, a slightly longer bike, and then I would do like a strength building run session. So that normally would be like hill repeats or something like that, where I'm actually building some strength endurance in those muscles. And then a Sunday was a longer ride, and then I would do like a steady run off, and that was normally on the trails. So there's a lot going on, but that's typically what my week would look like. Swim nearly every single day. I just wanted to keep that swim strength that I built it up from doing the Olympic trials. If anything, build on it to take that into the racing season. Biking obviously is always the longest discipline within the triathlon, so there's always a lot of bike mileage going in. And then running, I'm always just trying to just build up that run volume, keep it consistent and not get injured. So they were the main goals, and that's kind of what a general week would look like in Lanzarote. I mean, the majority of my riding is always on a TT bike. That's what I'm going to be racing on. So I would probably say that 75 to 80% of my riding was on a TT bike, and then I will take the road bike out, one if it's super windy, and then the other reason is just purely to mix it up so I'm not always in the TT position. It's a lot more enjoyable to go out and ride on the road bike. It's a lot more fun, so I always will put in quite a long road bike session just to switch it up. And then we did have some bouts of weather in Lanzarote where it was so windy that we couldn't even ride outside, so we also were on the turbo. And usually on the turbo, I'm always on the TT bike, working that TT position. Unless I've got some really high intensity efforts, then I find it easier to get that power out in the road bike position. But ultimately at the moment, my racing is TT bike focused. My final week on camp, I actually did all of my riding bar one session on a road bike, but that was because I'd got told I was racing an Olympic distance, so needed to just get that bit more road bike riding in on that final week.
So all the pros do it.
But I left my front wheel block thing at home, so poor boy will have to do. So I've just got an hour and 45 minutes with some shorter little bursts in there just to keep things ticking over and hopefully make an hour and 45 minutes on the turbo go a bit quicker. The only downside to using the pool boy as your wheel block is then when you go swimming, if it's dirty, you just get dirty legs. So that's the only downside. Otherwise, it's all positive. Oh, my little French bear. Hello. Do I go on the new Japan maps, or do I complete to get my Tron bike and go back up the Alp again?
Would you complete that out today?
No, I'll get a lot nearer. I wouldn't complete it today. I've got to go up the Alp about 3.5 more times, and today I reckon I'll go up about 1.5 times. Tron bike it is. Let's go back up the Alp. Road to Skye. must complete Tron bike mission.
How long has that taken?
7 years. No, in fairness, I had done the climbing to get a Tron bike like 3 times over, maybe 4 times over, maybe even more than that, but I hadn't selected the challenge on Zwift. And in December we selected the challenge, so yeah, it's going to have been like 6 months. But I haven't been on the Alp like every time, but I have gone up the Alp over 25 times now to do this challenge. Usually motivation is quite high on a training camp anyway, particularly when you're flying out there. You're excited because you're going to go away, you know you can knuckle down, get the work done, you're not going to get any distractions. So motivation is typically high when you set off out on the camp, but you kind of get to this kind of point on a camp where you're tired, you miss home comforts, you miss your dog, and you just have to remember why you're there. And I think yes, you're more tired, but you're also deep into the camp, so you're starting to see the benefits of the work that you've already been doing, so that can keep you motivated because you're like, okay, I know I'm making gains now, let's build on that. But don't get me wrong, there's definitely days where we are tired and we don't start training until quite late in the day, and actually the longer the camp goes on, the later in the day we might start training, until the point where you know you need a rest day because you just need to reset and then start again the next day, so you can actually start training at a reasonable time in the morning. So we're pretty good because Reese and I do bounce off each other, and that keeps us motivated, and we have that slight competitive element when we swim together, sometimes when we run together, so that helps a lot as well. But I think normally for most athletes, like a 2-week training camp is probably what you would normally do, so that's quite an easy amount of time to stay motivated. We was obviously away for 6 weeks, but those 6 weeks just flew by, and I think that's because we was in such a good routine, so it just felt like, well, that's another week done and we've achieved everything we wanted, another week done and we're still getting the work done. So actually it flew by probably more than most of the training camps I've done before, and it was quite nice as well because the island was pretty quiet, because normally you've got more tourists on the island, so actually riding on the island was super quiet as well, so that just made that a little bit more enjoyable. So unbelievably, we don't actually have a huge amount of downtime on camp, but I think that is because Reese and I don't start training until we're ready to start training, so that might be a little bit later into the day. So when we've still got to maybe tick off 3 sessions, we're almost not having much time for downtime. It might be like, okay, you're having a meal in between and then you're getting ready for the next session. So we obviously have our iPads so we can watch Netflix and just chill out doing that. But we do miss home. We're very much home-based people. We like being at home, we like being around our families. So we do miss home when we're there, but like I kind of said before, time just seems to fly when we're in a training camp because we're just so focused on ticking off those sessions and making sure that we're doing everything that we need to do in terms of fueling ourselves and recovering properly. So I guess you could say that downtime is also us just spending that time to do some stretching, flexibility work and kind of just chilling. We were really fortunate actually to have a lovely apartment where we were staying in Club La Santa, so we were sat on the lagoon waterfront, so it's quite easy to just switch your mind off when you're sat out on there for 10 minutes having a coffee before the next session. So yeah, this is the most important part of my training regime because natural blondes need to dye their hair blonde or blue. This is quite worrying that this is blue. Also, I must apologise to my hairdresser at home, Chelsea at Vintage Rock. I'm really, really sorry that I've done this. and I will be coming to you very soon when I get home to fix the problem. I'm doing quite a lot of media commitments this week. It's my final week on the training camp, and I've got the Sub-8 project coming out and the PTO coming out, so hence why I didn't want to have massively dark roots. Maybe we should have a vote as well, because obviously I've been dyeing my hair blonde for quite a long time, but I am naturally brunette, so maybe you should comment in the comments in this video, do you think I should stay blonde or go brunette? Should I go to my natural colour, or should I stick with my mermaid blonde? There's still some gold in there that I didn't really want, but it's not like too ginger, so I think we're gonna have to maybe leave it there, or final option, try and use this toner but not get it on the other hair. But actually it doesn't look that bad. I kind of adjusted to it this morning, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Be kind, please. No, it looks not that good. But we need to train now, not do hair and be a hairdresser anymore. That's why I have a hairdresser at home, because I do not have time to do these sort of things myself. More important, the golden brown coffee, not my hair. So we'll have some coffee, start the day. So plan for training today. This morning I'm going to do some of my prehab, rehab, stretching, core stability stuff just out on the balcony. Then I've got an hour 45-minute ride to do, which it looks less windy out there today, but I think I'm just going to do it on the turbo today and get some riding in outside at the end of the week. Then middle of the day I'm going to do a swim. I've got about 5k swim to do, and then I'm going to finish the day with a track session, which I'm hoping the sun will appear at least for my swim. It looks a bit miserable out there today. So core, bike, swim, run. So yeah, probably should get on with it, shouldn't I? Because quite a lot to do. You know what that hurts secondly the most? First, the most is obviously your shoulders. Secondly, the most is your nose, because it just gets flattened into the mat. It's like your scapular strength and stability, so mostly for cycling in the TT position, holding that strength, and swimming, obviously. Stops you getting injured in the swim, having good shoulder strength stability. So you've got good flexibility, which obviously my shoulders are hypermobile from years of swimming, but that gives them the strength to do it when they can move about freely but have strength at the same time. So it should stop me getting any shoulder injuries in the pool. So I try to do foam rolling and stretching every single day on camp. At home I'm a little bit more lax, but I've got my own physio at home that can keep me in good neck, and I can literally call him and be like, I need to see you tomorrow if there's something. So when I'm on camp, I'm a lot more hot on being really good at doing that every day. I have a small foam rolling routine that I go through, which is mainly based around legs and a bit on the back as well. So just spending, like, even if it's just 2 or 3 minutes on each muscle group, it doesn't need to be anything too pressure intense. Actually, giving yourself a lot of pain isn't always a benefit, so just keeping them loose day in, day out. You haven't got to hurt yourself doing it. I also have a stretching routine that isn't too long that I try and do each day as well, just before a workout. So again, it's actually not holding the stretches for too long in the morning. I do that more in the evening. In the morning, I'm doing more of a movement based to get my body warmed up before a session. So there's kind of different things that I do pre-run, post-run, but it's all pretty simple stuff. It's nothing kind of out there, but it just keeps my body in good nick and moving when I'm putting a lot of toll through it. So on a training camp, we generally fuel at Club La Santa. We use the half board service, so we get the breakfast buffet and the dinner buffet, which means we can get all the calories topped up at breakfast and at dinner. We also have a NutriBullet blender that we leave out there, so we can have protein shakes straight after a workout. We obviously can buy snacks, so we all snack throughout the day on various things, whether that's bananas or kind of like dried fruit and nuts. Don't get me wrong, we also have a bit of chocolate and treats every now and again as well, but generally we are just trying to keep on top of that calorie consumption, because we are burning so many calories on camp. Like I've said before, it's just so simple being at Club La Santa, because they also have the restaurants available, so we can do a workout and get a quick meal. So we definitely eat a lot on camp. We don't want to be in a calorie deficit, because we are ripping through calories. We're doing strength works, we need to get that protein on board. So yeah, quick protein shakes are ideal in between sessions as well. So equipment wise, I flew out with my TT bike and my road bike. We also leave a turbo trainer at Club La Santa. They do have turbo trainers available that you can use there, so you don't necessarily have to bring one. They have everything available as well. You don't need to bring your own bike if you don't want to. They have bikes that you can hire on a daily basis for free. They have ones that are higher spec that you can pay for, but they're basic bikes you can hire every single day for free, take them out and then return them at the end of the day. So you don't even need to bring your own bike, just bring your own pedals and your shoes, obviously. They have helmets if you forget your own helmet, so that's always a plus. All classes are included, so you can do spin classes, you can do aerial yoga, you can do TRX classes, literally anything you can think of. They will do it. Obviously they have a gym, so they have all of that equipment available, so you don't need to bring any of that. Reese and I normally bring like our own foam roller, massage gun, the Theragun we bring, so we can keep on top of our recovery even more. But again, they have foam rollers in the gym, they have all of that stuff available. So pretty much everything you need to be a triathlete is already there. I guess it just depends the level of triathlete that you get to. When you're a pro, you do want to be on your own bike. You do want to have a turbo available to you every single day, so we would bring our own, but you don't need that if you're an age group triathlete, because they have got it available to you. So my top kind of travel hacks as a triathlete is everything that you would need for, say, day 1 and 2 of your training camp, put in your hand luggage. So I always have running shoes, swimsuit, hat and goggles in my hand luggage, because worst case, if my suitcase doesn't arrive, I've got the kit I need to do those sessions. I normally have a change of clothes in there as well. So I know for at least the first day or 2 of my camp, worst case, if my bike hasn't arrived, I can borrow a bike at Club La Santa and I can swim and I can run. So that's always a tip. When you're going to race, always put your main key race stuff in your hand luggage so you got it. I mean, ultimately, if your bike doesn't arrive, you're not gonna be able to race, but it's better to have some stuff with you rather than none. Then in my bike box, I try and squeeze anything that's a bit bulky in there. So I'll put like a pump in there. I sometimes will put, we've got a travel turbo, I can squeeze that in there. If you want to travel with your own towels, I normally pad that out as well to keep my bike a bit more soft in there. Sometimes we'll put extra kit in there as well just to pad out the bike box. But there are weight limits on the bike box, so do be careful not to overload them. So always like pull up what's online and just show them, because sometimes they think it's the same as a suitcase, but actually on some airlines you can go as high as 30 kilos on a bike box. You just got to hope that your bike arrives, which I've had quite a few occasions when my bike has not arrived for a few days. Luckily it has always made it in time for the important stuff like racing. So in Lanzarote, my favourite cycle routes are definitely my long ride. I normally go up to Harrier and then up to Mirador, where you've just got the most amazing view at the top of Mirador.
Hey, I don't get what this is about. You got my head spinning on my shoulders. I feel a burn inside of my chest. See the lines as they blur out. I can feel it knocking
hours of training. Sun is finally shining for this last ride, so I've got about 4 hours of just steady riding, soaking up the sun, and then get ready to head home.
I have like my favourite little stop off points for coffee. Johnny Bakes is somewhere that you must visit for cake. Tin Man Fire is one of my favourite roads to climb up and down. I often do hill reps on that because it's about between 10 and 12 minutes of effort climbing up, and then you can descend back down. So I did a good hill rep session there. At the moment, Tabiesco is still closed, but you can kind of get up there, but you have to do a bit of cyclocross and lift your bike over a barrier to get all the way up. But at the moment they're having a bit of a landslide there, so do be careful if you're going to go up there. That it is shut for a reason, but that is also one of my favourite climbs. I like to go through the cactus garden just because it's quite a nice area of the island. Apart from there is a slightly bumpy bit of road to get out at the bottom end, but otherwise it is quite a nice quiet area. Running, I like to do a lot of trail running, so I will go and hit the different trails that kind of take you up to the volcano, or you can go the other side and run all the way to Famara and back, which is a nice half marathon loop along the coast. Other than that, I'm pretty much on the treadmill or on the track at Club La Santa. So running is a little bit more limited unless you want to explore. I haven't explored a massive amount like I do on the bike. Yeah, so obviously went into the camp with an amazing amount of swim form, which I managed to hang on to on the camp just by hitting around 20k probably on average per week, maybe a little bit more swimming. That was enough to just sustain the work that I'd done on the swim leading into the camp. On the bike, I just was able to build up that endurance again, so doing some longer rides, doing some harder efforts, some big gear work, some hill reps. I just felt like I was getting that strength back on the bike. And then on the run, I just felt like I was super consistent, so I actually made some good progress, just consistently building up that mileage each week, hitting those key sessions where I threw in a little bit of speed on the track, some hill reps to build up that muscular endurance. So ultimately it was a base building camp, but I came away feeling a lot fitter than I went in. I did a lot of strength work whilst I was there, so I was on average hitting 2 sessions a week, sometimes 3, so I just felt very robust but also a lot fitter. Sometimes you feel fitter but maybe a bit fragile because you've pushed your body, whereas I actually felt fitter, stronger, robust, and ready to go home and do my kind of racing block, I guess you would call it. These are my stats for my 6 weeks on camp. So 42 days, 49 cans of Red Bull, 6 dogs were fussed, 149,300 metres were swam, 18,648 metres were climbed on the bike in real life, not including Zwift, 125,505 kilograms were lifted, 314 kilometres were ran, 96 coffees were consumed, there were 17 sunny days, that's not even a lie. I went in the sea once, 46 laps around the Club La Santa Lagoon, which was bike and run, or cross bike and run. There was 3 media crews, 13 kit washes, 27 bananas eaten, and 11 goats were spotted. Okay, so that's given you a little bit of an insight into what a pro's training camp looks like, specifically at Club La Santa as well, so just to give you a bit of an insight about what it is like to train there. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Content creation. Also look like I'm taking a poo.